What's up, Pirates? Wraith and Jim here with Awaken TCG, and today we're back for episode 2 of going over all of the OP07 cards that just released on the official One Piece website. Today we have green. We're going to go over the green cards. If you haven't seen already, our leader is Bonney. It is going to be an insane leader, but let's go ahead and go over all of these green cards and see if they're worth it.
Yep, so our leader today is going to be Mono Green Bonney. I'm just going to say right now this leader's insane, so let's go over the effect. This is going to be a standard 5 life, 5000 power Supernova and Bonney Pirates type leader. Going to read, when your opponent attacks once per turn, you can tap 1 Dawn, and then you can put one of your opponent's leaders or characters into rest mode. So for 1 Dawn, you can rest anything on your opponent's attack. I think this would be good if it was just characters, but the fact that this is also leaders is absolutely insane. You always want to attack with characters first to play around triggers. This card really doesn't let them do that. Like, say they need to swing with Sakazuki leader effect and get that -1. They have to swing with leader first or they're going to get punished, which means you can also rest something big on their board. Like, the amount of just situations this is going to be insanely powerful in is pretty much unlimited.
Yeah, no, this is definitely the leader I'm looking forward to most from OP07. Like you said, there's just so many situations that this is going to be so disgusting to have. Obviously, the one downside is you do have to leave up 1 Dawn every single turn. So a lot of the times, if you do, kind of expect you're going to use the event, you kind of have to play a little off curve. But I think it warrants that 1 Dawn that you have to leave up for the effect that you get. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, very, very powerful leader. Next up here, we've got Aladdin, going to be a 5 cost, 6000 power with the Merman and Tayo Pirates type. I think that is the Sun Pirates, but going to be a blocker. And then on KO, if your leader has the Fishman type, you can remove a card with 3 or less from your hand and play it onto the board. If it has Merman or Mermaid type, I think that's Fishman actually. So basically, 5/6 blocker plays a 3 cost Fishman onto the board. Pretty mid, if I had to guess. I just think the Fishman type in general is not that great. So and the only Fishman leader are going to be Arlong and Horty Jones, which both are not good. So
Yeah, both of those leaders are very mid. So
yeah,
I mean, although this is a step in the right direction, I still think even like you said, the Fishman archetype is it's a little limited.
yeah. I think we need a green Jimbe leader. That would be awesome, and that would work great with his first mate right here. So next up here, we've got Uruj, going to be a 4 cost, 5000 power with a 1000 counter. Going to have the Supernova and Breaking Monk Pirates type. Going to be a blocker as well, and then also going to read, at the end of your turn, you can activate up to 1 of your Dawn cards. Insane in Bonney. As we were saying before, if you do play Bonney, you kind of need to play off curve, which is going to be a bit awkward. This card going to give you a 4/5 blocker that at the same time is going to make sure you always have that 1 Dawn up at the end of every turn. Great card.
Yeah, his card is insane, right? Supernova, so you can search it with Bonney, Bonney Searcher, and so I think this is a 4 of, especially just being able to bypass having to leave 1 Dawn up on your turn is gonna mean so much in that deck.
For sure. Honestly, like, even if this didn't have blocker, you might play it, but the fact that it has blocker is an instant 4 of staple. Next up here, we've got Otama. Is a 1 cost, 0 power 2K. Otama getting another 1 cost 2K, this one in green. Going to have the Wano Country type, and it's going to read, on play, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal 1 card that is green and has the Wano Country type. Other than Otama, add it to your hand, put the rest to the bottom. So, 1 cost, 2K Searcher. Yeah, that's insane. Obviously, you can flex this as a 2K in your hand, or if you need to search out something, you can just play this on the board for 1. Really don't care about the power of searchers a lot of the time, so yeah, this card is insane.
Yeah, no. And then the one thing green always has in its back pocket is if there's ever a world where you run the 5 drop blocker laws, you can always pick up your these 2Ks back up and play something. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, an insane searcher. Making it 2K is so good, especially because Wano's not the most defensive archetype. So, I'm really glad to see it get a 2K, and not only that, it's a searcher.
Yep. Wano Law is looking up. But next up here, we've got Caribou. Is a 4 cost, 5,000 power with 1,000 counter. Going to have the Supernova and Caribou Pirates type. This one going to read, if there are 6 or more Rested Dawn, this character is going to get 1,000 power. And then he's also a blocker. So a 4/5 blocker that turns itself into a 4/6 if 6 of your Dawn are rested. So this is basically always going to be... he's always going to be a 4/6 for the most part when it's on board. You just need to make sure you play things before you either swing with him or you use all of your Dawn for your opponent's turn. So he is a 6K.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's bad. Obviously, it's a vanilla blocker. But I don't know. I feel like there's better cards.
Yeah, definitely situational. You would have to theory craft and make a deck first and see if there's any slots open for a card like this. But it is definitely one of those you put on. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see for later.
You will definitely see. And next up here, we've got Koala. Is a 3 cost, 0 power with a 1,000 counter, and the full shoot island type. Going to have the on your opponent's attack. This character, you can rest the character, and then one of your characters with the Fishman type, and a cost of 5 or less, is going to have blocker for the turn. So for 3, you are resting this and converting a Fishman that's 5 or less, mind you, to a blocker. This card is like laughably bad. I don't know why you would ever play this card.
Yeah, I have no idea. Let's go and skip it. Yeah, I'm not sure why this was printed, but
yeah. Next up here, we've got Caribou. Is a 3 cost, 3,000 power with no counter. Going to have the Supernova and Caribou Pirates type. I'm not sure why this guy has the Supernova type because he is not a Supernova, but that's fine. Going to be on play. You can make one of your Caribou card with a cost of 4 or less appear from your hand rested. So obviously this is meant to combo with this Caribou right here.
Mm-hmm.
So a 3/3 with no counter that plays out a 4/6. So you can play a 4/6 vanilla on 3, which actually wouldn't work because you would only have 3 rested Dawn at that point.
You have to wait another 3 turns.
Yeah, so we already were iffy on Caribou. We're 100% not playing this card.
Yeah, horrible card. 3/3 on the body does nothing for you. Just to play a 4/5 body one turn early doesn't feel too good.
No, absolutely not. Next up here, we've got the Jewelry Bonney, going to be the staple card for this leader, this set. Going to be a 5 cost, 6,000 power with a 1,000 counter, Supernova, and a Bonney Pirate type card. Going to read on play. You can make one of your opponent's rested Dawn or characters and not become active for their next refresh phase. This card is insane. Obviously, mini 10 cost Doflamingo, if you want to use it that way. You can make any of their characters not restand. But I think the best part about this card is that you can make one of their Dawn not restand. If your opponent is, say, playing Yellow Katakuri, and they want to play the 10 cost Big Bomb next turn, you play this card out. They don't get a restand one of their Dawn. They can only play with 9. And you basically Dawn -1 them and lock them out of any 10 Dawn play they could ever dream of.
Yeah, I mean, definitely something you can play on curve to mess up their next turn, or like you said, just being able to keep this for endgame when they're going to 10 Dawn, just to be able to play this and lock them at 9 is insane, right? It just takes away so many 10 Dawn plays. I think this is going to be a 4 of in the Bonney deck.
Yeah, not to mention probably a 4 of in Law too. Red-Green Law is going to love this card.
Mm-hmm.
Next up here, we've got Jimbe. It's just going to be a 4/6 vanilla with the Fishman and Sun Pirates type, so that is completely fine. Next up here, we've got Scratchman Papu, going to be a 6/8 vanilla with 1000 counter. This one going to have Supernova and On-Air Pirates type. Another card we don't care about. If he was a 5/7, then maybe we could talk about it because we could play it in Law. Next up here, we've got Bassel Hawkins, going to be a 6 cost, 7000 power with no counter. This is an SR, so it does have a powerful effect. Is going to be if your leader has the Supernova type, this character is going to be a blocker, so a 6/7 blocker. And then once per turn, if this character was going to leave the field due to any of your opponent's effects, you can make one of your opponent's characters rested instead. So, upon first seeing this card, I thought this was insane. I thought this was an amazing Sakazuki counter, till I realized your opponent can kind of play around it. Let's say they have a brand new on board, and they want to remove it with Houndblaze or something like that. They can actually, even if they can't swing into leader with brand new, they can just declare attack, like 3k leader with brand new, just to rest brand new, and then remove this card after the fact, just to play around it. Just the fact that your opponent can play around this card, canceling out removal, is not good because your opponent's not going to try to remove this card if they know they're just going to get punished. But obviously, having the option is good. They actually can't play any character removal like, say, Rob Lucci, because Rob Lucci would be an instant valid target for this card's effect.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. Obviously, it would be probably too busted if there was no workaround. It would just always stick on the board. But, you know, if they have the workaround, they're going to do it. If not, they'll probably just leave it on the board.
Yeah. Which is good, right, in itself, right?
Yeah. It gives you an option, at least.
Mm-hmm. And next up here, we've got Papu. Is a 2 cost, 0 power with 2000 counter. I'm going to read, if you have a Kami character on board, this character is going to get blocker. So, a 2 cost blocker with 2000 counter, that is very conditional. Kami is the Fishman Searcher, so if we have a future like all Fishman Pirates deck, I think you run this card, but for now, I don't think there's a good enough Fishman leader to be running this card.
Yeah. Again, this card's not that good. Fishman in general, not that good. This is one of those blockers where you have a requirement, it just feels really bad.
Yeah.
If it's okay.
It is, I mean, yeah, right. It is a 2K, and that's what I'm saying. If we had a good Fishman leader and the Fishman archetype was good, this is like a 4-up staple. But it's not good.
Yeah, no, trash card.
Next up here, we've got Bartolomeo. Is a 3 cost, 4000 power with 1000 counter. Going to be a blocker as well with the Supernova and Barto Club type. Going to read, on your turn, once per turn, when a character becomes arrested by one of your effects, you can draw a card and discard a card from hand. So that means, I don't think this works with attacks because that's not an effect. This is going to work with, say, if you have like Bonney Searcher and you tap it to search it, this card would just kind of cycle one after you do the Bonney search, which is decent. Like maybe a good card in Red-Green Law because you can bring this out off of 5 cost Law after you like bring a Bonney back. We'll have to see. I mean, honestly, I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's a subpar blocker with an okay effect, so probably won't see too much play unless there's like a crazy combo with it.
Yeah, for sure. Next up here, we have the Goat Fisher Tiger. Going to be a 5 cost, 6000 power with 1000 counter, and the Fishman and Sun Pirates type. Going to read, this character can attack characters on the turn it appears. So a pseudo rush type card, kind of like with the Rebecca stage. Going to be on play if your leader has the Fishman or Mermaid type. Put up one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less into rest mode. Wow, this card is insane. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, again, locked to Fishman leaders. As a generic green card, like if I could play this in any deck, this card is so good. Being able to rest a 6 while developing a 5/6 and you can attack and do it is so strong.
Yeah.
I just wish we had a good green Fishman leader.
Yeah, I mean that's my issue, right? It's like Black gets all these cards printed that are never leader locked, and then every other color, especially green, is always. I think it's like green and blue. All these great cards, but they're always leader locked. Like, come on, with not a good leader for them to be useful.
Yeah, awesome card with an unfortunate circumstance. Next up here, we've got Monkey D. Luffy. Is going to be a 5 cost, 6,000 power with a 1,000 counter. Going to have the Supernova and Straw Hat Pirates type. This one going to read, if you have 3 or more characters on your field, your characters with a cost of 3 or less, other than Monkey D. Luffy, will not be KO'd by your opponent's effects. This is so strong. Specifically against Sakazuki, right? Because say they put your Law down to 2 cost to Houndblaze it. Maybe not Houndblaze, maybe to Rob Lucci it, because this is actually only KO effects. Your Law counts as a 2 cost, so this card protects Law. I think this card's going to be really good in Red-Green Law, and it's going to be a way to kind of prevent your opponent from just getting rid of your board really easily with stuff like Rob Lucci.
Yeah, no, 100%. This card right here is going to save a lot of Red-Green Laws.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then it basically gets rid of, so an OP03 Law, Red-Green Law had a really bad matchup into Zoro just because it would KO everything. Boom, you pop this out on board. Any KO effects just, don't work on none of your characters. They would have to get rid of this first, but that's doing a lot. Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's a good tech card for sure.
Like it a lot. Any counter to Sakazuki, I'm going to love. Next up here, we've got Ranoa Zoro. Going to be a 1 cost, 2,000 power with 1,000 counter, and the Supernova and Straw Hat Pirate archetype. Going to read on attack, if you have 3 or more characters on your field, this character is going to get 2,000 power for the turn. So, a 1/4 pretty much. The only deck I'm really thinking this works in is Red-Green Law. This does count itself, so you do only need 2 other characters beside him. But honestly, I don't really love it. It's not bad, but I don't think you're running this over anything else, especially with all the new 5 costs we're getting in Law.
Yeah, I mean, having 3 characters on board is a tall task in this meta. Yeah, this is probably a card that's just not going to see too much play.
Yeah, especially on a card. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Especially on a card without Rush, right? You play this card, it's going to get removed the turn after you play it. Next up here, we've got Exposure of Cause and Effect. I don't know if that's the correct translation, but we're going to go with it. It is going to be a 1 cost Supernova and Breaking Monk Pirates counter event. Going to read counter. Give one of your leader or one of your characters 2,000 power for this battle. After that, if you have 3 or more characters on board, that card is going to get an extra 1,000 power. And then on trigger, you can KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less that is arrested. So 1 for 4, right? Sorry, actually only a 1 for 3. And the only deck, again, that I'm really thinking this works in is Red-Green Law. But Red-Green Law, at the most, only ran 2 Rad Beams, and there's no reason why you'd run this over Rad Beam.
Yeah, I mean, and then the trigger is just give it a KO, a 4 cost or less. I hate that green gets all these cards where it's like, okay, you have to KO it, but it has to be rested. You get a nice KO effect, but it has to be rested. Like people like these cards just make green jump through so many hoops. Like I feel like this card would be ran if it just KO'd a 4 or less on trigger, which would be really nice and probably needed for green, because green doesn't see too much play, but they got to make the cards bad. So
they're scared of green. The OP01 kids scared them since the start of the meta. Next up here, we've got Demon Key, 9 Sword Style, Ashura Demon, 9 Flash. God, that is a long name. But it's going to be a 2 cost Supernova and Straw Hat event. Going to be during main, give one of your leader or one of your characters plus 3,000 power for the turn. After that, you can put one of your characters with a cost of 3 or more into rest mode. And if you do, turn one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less rested. So rest one of your characters at cost 3 or less to rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. For 2, while buffing your leader by 3k. So another one of these type of events they're printing in every color that for 2 will give you 3k and a pretty decent effect. I don't think it's bad. but I don't think it's great. There
Yeah,
are a lot of
definitely
5 cost
not great.
block. Yeah, it's kind of like an Amaru almost. That's a little bit worse. There's a lot of 5 cost blockers that like Amaru can't reach that this would be able to reach. So could definitely help you go for game. Like I could see Green Kid running this or something like that. Other than that, I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's the best.
Yeah, and then trigger again. Make up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost 4 or less into rest. Like it's a 2 cost event, and you know you're getting a subpar trigger again. Like this could have just been like the Punk Gibson trigger is just you know rest one of your opponent's characters. But no, they got to limit it. So definitely green. OP01 did just unrepairable damage to this game. I don't think green will ever be at the top.
Fortunately, Bonney is insane, so we'll have to see on that.
I hope.
Next up here, we've got pizza okawari. Bonney is ordering more pizza in this 1 cost Supernova and Bonney Pirate event. Going to be a main. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal 1 card with the Supernova type other than this card, and then add it to your hand. Then put the rest at the bottom of the order. Also, the trigger. Oh, it's not going to be activate main. It's actually just draw 1 card. So 1 cost search that can search out blocker law, anything other than that. Could be running this in Bonney, could be running this in red green law. I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, no, it feels pretty good. You know, decks definitely wavered off of the 1-drop searches, but it definitely can make a return, especially if you need, you know, key pieces, make your deck a little more, just a little more consistent. But yeah, I like this. You can search your, you know, your Bonney searches. You can search, like you said, the red green law. Can have it for 5-drop law, which is probably the most crucial card in that deck. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then the trigger is definitely nice. So I could definitely see this being ran. All right, Pirates, that is going to be the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for staying until the end and watching all of the green overview that we just went through. Hopefully Bonney is so good. Like I want Bonney to be so good. I need green to be at the top again so I can, you know, be comfortable and perform on a deck that is already good. I need the crutch. I need the crutch. I don't have time to practice. I need the crutch. I'm going to be honest. But anyways, that is going to be the end of this video. Make sure to like this video. Comment down below what OP07 leader you're looking forward to the most. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't. At 5,000 subs, we're going to be giving away 5 OP06 boxes. So stay tuned for that. More info on that very soon. You guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.